Okay, welcome back. So here you can see I've written out all the steps to solving these three problems. This one's pretty straightforward. You started out taking the square root of both sides, taking the square root of 0 just leaves you with 0. Subtract 7 and you get one answer. Notice that whenever you take the square root of 0, it always leaves you with just one answer at the end. Doesn't matter if the answer is 0 or -7 or whatever, you're still going to end up with just one answer. Okay, number 5. So number 5 is pretty complicated. First off, we're going to divide by 4. And when we divide both sides by 4, these 4's go away, and I'm left with x minus 3 is equal to 9 over 4. So we're leaving 9 over 4 as an improper fraction because when we go to take the square root, we're going to find that we can take the square root of 9 and 4. So we take the square root, that makes this go away, leaving us with x minus 3. But then now I have to take the negative and the positive version of the answers here. For this one, I forgot to actually solve it, and so I just wrote the square root back over the top of this, but you don't have to write all this stuff. You can go straight from this step down to this step right here. So when you take the square root of 9/4, remember the rule when it comes to taking square roots is you can take the square root of the top number and the bottom number separately, and that's your answer. So the square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 4 is 2. So you end up with -3/2 and +3/2. Now when you go to add 3 to both sides, I could write this as a fraction, but I decided to switch it to the decimal answer. So if you were to change this to a decimal, this would be -1.5, and this would be +1.5. And so when you go to add 3 to both of those, you get 1.5 as an answer, and you get 4.5 as an answer. So that's number 5. Let's look at number 6. Number 6, you take the square root of both sides, and note that you can't take the square root of 35, so you have to leave it the same. You're going to have a square root in your answer, and that's totally fine. So this goes away. We're left with 2x plus 1, and now we need to subtract 1 from both sides, because remember, our goal is to get x by itself. So let's go ahead and do that. -1 from both sides. We rearrange this. Remember, we want the number outside of the square root to be in front. So now we've got -1 plus or minus square root of 35. And then we're going to divide both sides by 2. And when we divide both sides by 2, we need to divide everything by 2. And so that leaves me with an answer of x is equal to -1 plus or minus the square root of 35 all over 2. This is the best way to write this. Trust me, you're not going to want to write the positive version and then rewrite the negative version over here. Start getting used to writing your answer like this when you have a square root that you weren't able to solve in your answer. Okay, that's everything that I have for notes today. So what you're going to do for homework is we'll do some homework sheets when I get back on Monday, but for now I just want you to do homework from your book. So I want you to do pages 466 through 467, and you're going to do numbers, let's do 3 through 27. Just kidding. It's going to be the odds. So you only have to do half of them. Okay. So something I want you to know is that for numbers 3 and 5, note that numbers 3 and 5, you do not have to solve. Do not solve. Remember, they don't want you to solve. If you read the directions, it actually says that you need to determine the number of solutions you will have. So your answers for 3 and 5 might look something like you will have 1 answer, or 2 answers, or 0 answers, no solution, right? And you should be able to determine that by seeing, are you going to end up taking the square root of a positive number? Are you going to take the square root of 0? Or are you going to take the square root of a negative number? And that determines how many answers you have. If you're not sure how to figure that out and what I just said, you need to look back at your notes because we took notes on it. So go ahead, use your notes, help yourself, and do the homework. All right, I'll see you guys on Monday.